Okay, I have one thing to tell y'all. This is be Josh's mission of the week. Now you gotta remember, if you're ever feeling life, don't forget this. A 33-year-old Tim Tebow was signed as a tight end to play on a professional football team. And not just any football team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, welcome to Frontline Football. You want to for your news, rumors, updates, and roll the intro.
All right, welcome guys to Frontline Football. We're gonna start off with Jack's team today that had the second pick in the draft. Jack, go ahead and set your take.
All right, great in the Jets draft. I'm going to go a little more in depth in this draft just because I kind of know what's going on in it. First pick, Zach Wilson. I mean, that one was pretty obvious at that point. I guess you could make it a debate on Fields, but scheme fit, release, and processing power, there's complicated West Coast schemes. It goes on, but Zach Wilson was the pick, and it makes sense. Elijah Vera Tucker, 14. Now, I've heard some people criticize the trade up, which is understandable. It was two third-round picks, but statistically, Elijah Vera Tucker is not only a perfect scheme fit, but he can move out to the outside and he can play left tackle if Mekhi Becton is hurt. He's the highest-graded guard since Quentin Nelson, and guards statistically have the lowest bust rate in the first round out of all positions most times. So it's a relatively safe pick, and I don't mind giving up 2 third-round picks if Elijah Vera Tucker is going to be a Pro Bowler sooner than later. So if Elijah Vera Tucker pans out, I don't really care, but as of right now, I think it was worth it. We'll see. Time will tell. I'm pretty sure it's going to be worth it. All right, next we got Elijah Moore. Another pick I am a fan of. I would have gone with JOK, but I understand what they're going for. They're going for a slot receiver to eventually replace Jamison Crowder. And until that time comes for Crowder to leave, he's going to do end around, jet sweeps, all the stuff behind the line. But I think he's an elite route runner and has a high potential to mold with Zach Wilson and the rookie minicamp chemistry. All right, next pick. Michael Carter, 1. The first Michael Carter. I like Michael Carter 1 just on the basis of he came from school with another very highly rated running back in Javonte Williams, so he's kind of used to a committee. So I think Carter's got elusiveness, and he's kind of another good scheme fit. I think he was one of the better scheme fits for the Jets. He's up there with Travis Etienne in my eyes when it comes to how you're going to fit in the zone run scheme. I think him and Ty Johnson make a nice tandem. I like that pick. Now, for the 5th through 6th, I'm going to just give you 2 names that stand out. Ironically enough, Michael Carter 2 is another guy that I really like moving forward in the slot corner. I think he has potential to be a starter. And last but not least, we have Hamza Najaldeen. Now, this guy he was a second-round graded player before the draft. Fell all the way to the 6th. He's listed as a DB, but he can easily come down and play will. I believe he's going to play the will linebacker role, and I think he has a higher ceiling out of the group of 5th and 6th round picks. Overall, I really like what the Jets did. They built around Zach Wilson in this draft. I'm pretty picky when it comes to A+. I'm giving like 3 teams in total A+. So I'll give the Jets an A here. I think they did a good job picking offense first to make sure that you get some studs for Zach Wilson because you did have the worst offense in the league. And then relying on Robert Saleh and the coaching staff to sort of develop these mid to late round defensive picks to hopefully pan out. But overall, good draft. You did your job. You fixed positions of need. I'll give it an A. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Okay, so let's just start out at the top because that's where every good thing starts. So we got Zach. Was anybody even debating this? No. And the pick was made like a couple seconds after they onto the clock. So, yeah, I mean, good pick. You already are at an A. AVT, Elijah Vera Tucker. I like this pick because I remember during our filming times, Jack and Zach would tell me a lot about Elijah Vera Tucker. And I remember watching Draft Day with them and hearing, oh my gosh, we traded up. We're getting AVT. It's going to be great. He's a guard. See, I've seen his highlights. He looks really good. And he's going to be great. So that's already keeping you at an A, maybe getting an A+. Elijah Moore. This feels good. because you're getting somebody who plays kind of the style of A.J. Brown and came from Ole Miss. So he seemed really good to be picked up here. So you're still at A plus. So you're doing well, Jets. Next, Michael Carter, great job. You did lose Le'Veon Bell this year, and I feel like this is a great replacement for him. So you're staying at an A. And then Michael Carter, number 2, he seems pretty good. The only thing I have a problem with in this draft, which is not that big of a problem, is just drafting 2 corners in Brandon Eccles. And so getting Jason Pinnock, I feel like you could have done some more stuff with another position instead of 2 corners. But you guys are still at a good A here, because I feel like this is a really good draft. So I will be giving you guys an A plus here. Zach, what are your thoughts?
All right. Well, let's get Zach Wilson, the guy I will be replacing in like a few years. Zach Wilson, very solid QB. I think, yeah, he's a scheme fit. He'll do perfect. Elijah Vera Tucker. Jack and I went about like whenever we hung out, we were talking about the draft. We talked about Elijah Vera Tucker for like 2 hours and saying how we both want him on our team if he's there. And well, Jack traded up and got who he wanted to protect Zach Wilson. And he can move around so much that he's so versatile. He can play any offensive line position. I might take his job too if I woke up. Elijah Moore. Okay. Good job, Jets. This is an interesting pick. I was thinking that you guys are going to go like linebacker or there's like Asante Samuel on the board, but this is good. Hopefully, he's had some like there's only been like one bad thing out, and it was just in like a bowl game where like he basically cost them the game just because of his celebration. But yeah, that's it. If he can control his celebration habits of just doing that, what he just did in the bowl game, then he'll be fine. I like Michael Carter the first. I actually did want him in the 4th round also. It's just Jack's team got there before we did, before we signed James Conner. But yeah, I love this pick. And then Michael Carter the second, I like that because they're starting to get corners and linebackers and all this positions that they need on that defense, but they got offense first because Sam Darnold didn't have too much to work with. So giving Zach Wilson, AVT, Elijah Moore, and Michael Carter are just solid options. And I think that this grade is an A plus because they worked on defense in the late rounds, which is so smart. So yeah. All right, with our next team, we got the New England Patriots. Yeah, I'll take this one because I was the closest to them. All right, so they selected Mac Jones with their first pick, and their first round pick. I'm not on the right site. But yeah, I think that he was a very good addition. I don't think he'll be like amazing and he'll like ball out. He'll have to sit for a little bit, and everyone's expecting that. And yeah, it's a smart pick. I think he's not going to be that good. And then you get to the second round, Christian Barmore. I like this pick. It's working on defense, and that he's a great defensive tackle, and he was projected to go in the first round, so getting him in the second round with sixth, with that, like where they were selecting, this is an amazing pick. And then they got an edge in the third round. It's very smart for them to be working on defense right now, because their defense is good, but they need a little help on there because Gilmore might be gone. We don't know yet, but I like it. He's a good edge. Roddy Perkins. So yeah. And then you get into like the fourth round, they drafted a running back. It's okay. if he turns in, he'll just go into that running back committee. So, yeah. All right, I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna give this a B plus. It's a solid draft. It's just none of the picks except for Christian Barmore I really liked. So yeah, I'm gonna hand this one off to Jack.
All right. New England. Okay. Start out with Mac Jones, which, meh. I don't see Mac Jones as the upside of any other QBs selected in the first part of this group. But, I mean, if Bill Belichick thinks all he needs to win the Super Bowl is Kirk Cousins, which I think Mac Jones is ceiling, or round where he'll be, then it works. I think Christian Barmore, where you got him, round 2, the pick 6 in round 2, was a major steal. This was the only first-round graded defensive lineman, and you traded up. You got an aging defense overall. It's good to get younger, and you start in the trenches, which is a good start. I love the Barmore pick. We'll call that one of their steals. Next, I see we got Ronnie Perkins out of Oklahoma. He's an edge. He's a solid edge. Ooh, and they got him for a comp pick, too. Okay, remember to use the comp picks. But overall, I think he's going to be a solid player if schemed up properly in New England. They got a running back in the 4th. Okay, I guess that's contingency. And let's see who else they got here. Will Sherman. Okay. They always have good linemen there. Overall, I see some upside in these later rounds, but it's like, I'm not overly impressed. But the Barmore steal will up the grade a bit. I don't mind Mac Jones. I like Ronnie Perkins, but overall, I'm going to give this one a B+, just on the basis of I'm not a major fan of the late rounds. They're kind of all over the place when it comes to it. But overall, I don't mind this draft. It's not bad. They didn't do anything dumb or do any reaches, but it's nothing to like write home about or victory lap or anything. B+, solid B+. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Okay, so first, obviously, like everybody else said, Mac Jones. Yeah, he's okay. I see because I'm reading ESPN right now to make sure that I know each pick. The guy's saying that they should have traded up for Fields and they should have been more aggressive with that. The Patriots can't have everything. And I think that this is the exact quarterback that Belichick is looking for. A Tom Brady clone. Somebody who would be good in the league 10 years ago. And that's Mac Jones. And I believe Kirk Cousins is probably the best that he'll be. He is a higher value Kirk Cousins, is basically what he is in this draft. And next, Christian Barmore, steal draft. So right now you're at a B. That will send you up to a B+. And, I mean, it's good. You're probably not hitting A because of this draft, but that's a good steal. And I think that he'll go perfectly with Matt Judon and the people who you signed, like Kyle Van Noy and all the linebackers that you got. So I think that he'll go well. And then next, Ronnie Perkins. I like this pick. It seems very nice. I saw him in Oklahoma, did very well. And I think he's going to be a good defender if he can pan out correctly. But you guys are still at B+. I'm not that high on him. I just like the pick. Next, Ramondre Stevenson out of Oklahoma also. I like this pick because he was a part of a running back by committee where it was him and a freshman back who was just, I believe, arrested or is on trial right now for robbery. But I like this pick because New England's known for having a running back by committee. And I feel like this is a good running back in that who has already experienced a running back committee at one of the most prestigious schools in America, in Oklahoma. So it's a good pick, but you're not getting out of a B+. So next pick, very scattered, very weird. So your final draft grade is a B+. Patriots.
Okay, with our next team, it's going to be the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to hand this one off to Josh.
Okay, so the Miami Dolphins, you did not have many picks in the middle round. Them early and one late pick. So let's start off with the first one. Jalen Waddle. I like this pick. You're an A+ right now because Jalen Waddle is a very good player, and I think he'll be really good, especially since he hasn't trashed Tua yet like his teammate Devontae did, was saying they'd rather play with Mac Jones than Tua. Next, Jalen Phillips, and it kind of down an A-. I like Jalen Phillips. Don't get me wrong. I'm just scared about his injury concerns, and I feel like Kwity Paye would be a better edge here. I know that he doesn't show the stats like Jalen Phillips does, but he has less concussions. He's less likely to retire early. You still have a good draft, but Jalen Phillips is not probably the best person here to choose. Next, Javon Holland, up to an A. You are doing well here. So Javon Holland, he seems like a great safety to add to your secondary, especially with playing in the AFC East. I'm guessing next year there will be a lot of gunslinger quarterbacks, and you're going to need a good secondary to defend against them. So you got right back up to an A. Next, Liam Eshberg. I like this. Notre Dame. He was a really good tackle. And remember this, Notre Dame is a lineman factory, basically. They produce linemen. Quentin Nelson, Zach Martin are just a couple of the people from that school. Nick Martin. You probably name them, and they're probably from Notre Dame. Notre Dame is really good at this, so you're still at an A, but that is a really good pick. Next, Hunter Long. I believe that in this draft class, he is one of the good tight ends. I was thinking even that the Texans could take this guy. He is just a really, really good tight end. And to have him in the third round, that's a really good place to get him. And then finally, he had like 2 round 7 picks. I don't really know who they are. But with that draft, I'm going to give you an A right there. So I'm going to hand it to Jack for you.
Okay, Miami Dolphins. So let's go over the first pick. Jalen Waddle at 6. I like it. You got to supply the QB with the weapons. You could argue a Penny Sewell, but I think Jalen Waddle, what he's going to bring to the Dolphins is very intriguing. And you add him to a room that already has Preston Williams, who I think is very underrated and could have a rebound year after tough injuries. Devontae Parker, a guy that went for a breakout year 2 years ago, struggled a bit last year, a bit of a slump, but he could turn it around. And you also now have Will Fuller. That's a pretty solid room you got going there for Tua. Then we get the Jalen Phillips at 18. Now this is concerning, but it reminds me a bit of Caleb Farley for the Titans here. How he plays is going to be purely on what goes on specifically with his injuries, and I think it will directly influence how I grade this draft in the future. But overall, you take a swing, and you're just hoping that you hit. And if you do, Jalen Phillips is the real deal. You just got to hope that he can stay healthy. Next, in the second, you got Holland, the safety. Now, this is one of the higher-rated safeties in the draft, and I think it adds a piece in the secondary because I believe they cut their veteran safety, Bobby McCain. And if you really are the Dolphins, I've heard that they may bring in Malik Hooker. If you have a secondary of Holland, Howard, Byron Jones, and Malik Hooker, that's looking pretty solid. Like, that's pretty locked down. So I like the Holland pick. Makes sense. Next, we got Liam Eichenberg. Now, Notre Dame linemen, they get the job done. And I think this is where the protection of Tua comes in because you invested a lot in Jalen Waddle. You need to invest in the line a bit. Your line did struggle. Austin Jackson's developmental piece as of right now. We'll see how that pans out. But I like Eichenberg here. It's solid, and you needed to invest in the O-line early to help Tua out. And last but not least, the pick. I'm not going over the 7th. I don't recognize the names. But Hunter Long, another one of my solid tight ends of the draft. One of my big 4 in the group of tight ends that I like throughout the draft. So I think overall, Hunter Long and Mike Gesicki is looking really nice as a tight end duo. And overall, I'm going to give this draft an A- with potential to go up to an A depending on what happens with Jalen Phillips. But overall, Miami did what they needed to do. Not only did they solidify their secondary, but they helped Tua out in every way necessary. They got him a wide receiver he knew. They got him a lineman, a Notre Dame lineman at that, solid in the second. And they invested in another third-round tight end. They're slowly building around Tua the proper way, and they added to their defense in the same draft. I see this as a win-win with a potential to move up to an A+ depending on the Jalen Phillips situation.
Okay. All right, so I'll save my take. Dolphins. I love this draft. They got like 4 of my favorite players in this draft. So Jalen Waddle, I think that he does have a problem with injuries, which you'll notice with they're both 2 first-round picks. So with that injuries history, I'm gonna bring this down to an A. Jalen Phillips, same issue, injuries. I'm gonna bring it down to an A-. But you go back up to an A because Javon Holland can play safety, slot corner, and if he bulks up a little, maybe linebacker. So, yeah, I think Javon Holland is a great piece to this offense because he's played corner and he's played safety. So if you ever need a slot corner, you can just move Javon Holland there. So I love this pick, and it's such a good pick. Then, like what Jack and Josh said, I like this pick for them. Leon Eichenberg, out of Notre Dame. Notre Dame makes a lot of great offensive tackles, so it's still an A. And then Hunter Long. When I was like going through the prospects, I had Hunter Long as where was it? Yeah, I had Hunter Long, as good as like Tommy Trimble, which is like the 5th best tight end in this draft. So if you get the 5th best tight end in this draft, that's putting like solid seasons, and he probably can block because looking at these stats, it's not like you're not gonna be amazed by them, but they're solid for a tight end. So I think this pick is very good. So I'm gonna have their draft grade as an A because it's a really good draft. And for the final team, not the video, but for the AFC East, it is the Buffalo Bills. I'm gonna hand this one off to Jack.
The Buffalo Bills. Now this draft, on paper, is very, it's not very exciting. But then again, you got to understand, this is a Super Bowl contender with less draft capital. They're not going to have these A+ drafts based on what I see. But so far, they did what they needed to do, specifically in the first. Let's look at Gregory Rousseau. I think this is an intriguing pick. He did have a lot of sacks 2 years ago, but I believe he opted out this year and has a little bit of character issues. But he could be a guy that could be coached up to be a 4-3 pass rusher moving forward, which is something I think the Bills desperately needed to get ahead of the game on, just on the basis of Jerry Hughes is super old now. Then unlike the last team that double-dipped on edge, the Colts, I like the Bills double-dipping on edge just because of the less needy team. They get Carlos Basham out of Wake Forest, who I think is a versatile D lineman. I don't know that much about him, but he is solid. I like bolstering the D-line since the team is nearly complete at this point. And then I see they grabbed couple solid linemen, Spencer Brown and Tommy Doyle in the 5th. That's always good to have a pipeline of linemen ready to go in case someone goes down or they only have Feliciano on a 1-year deal. We don't know about Darrell Williams. There are some uncertainties. It's a good line, but they did get some sort of contingency plan in case stuff goes down and they have issues with that moving forward. And then the rest is just depth. But overall, it's not like a draft that I can hate on. Like, everything was within reason for the Buffalo Bills in this draft, and I'm going to give it a B. Just because they didn't do anything particularly dumb, but it wasn't, like, flashy either. So it's kind of just in the middle there. It did what it needed to do. It filled needs for a contender, and that's pretty much it. B for the Buffalo Bills. What are your thoughts, Zach?
With this draft, like Jack said, it's not flashy, but there are some really good picks. I think the ones that I think they're going to do really well is Carlos Basham and Gregory Rousseau. I had Basham going in the 2nd round, like early 2nd, late 1st. So getting him at 61 is really good. And Carlos Basham, I like him. And Gregory Rousseau, he, in my opinion, is the best edge in this class. The only thing I have a problem with, he's undersized to be an edge. And he needs to bulk up over this offseason to become an edge, or else they're going to have to move him somewhere else. Because sometimes he can, if there's like a big lineman he's going after, he cannot get through him, which is going to be a big problem because there are a lot of big linemen in the NFL. So I think Gregory Rousseau is a solid pick, and if he can keep out of the media for having character issues, I think that this is a really good pick. But the rest of the picks, I don't really care about because they're just depth pieces. So I'm gonna give it like a B minus, just because I like those two picks, but they need more picks that I like. I like to think, whoa, this is like such a good pick, but it's not supposed to be a flashy draft. They'll probably make the Super Bowl in like 2 years, 1 year ish. So yeah. All right, Josh.
Okay, so first, like everybody else said, Gregory Rousseau. I like this pick. Especially, doesn't matter really about the character issues. I like it because he seems like a good player. So you're right now sitting at a B, and double dipping on edge for this team seems good because I really feel like with this, especially in the Chiefs game, you guys really had problems and rushing Mahomes' decision because on this show we may not like Mahomes that much, but we know that if you give him time, he'll find the right target. He's not dumb. Okay, so Basham seems good. They seem like a good duo to rush that quarterback and to get him to rush his decision making and make a mistake. And then finally, we have Spencer Brown. I don't really know a lot about this player because he is from Northern Iowa, and I don't really follow FCS sub-conference or FCS schools. But I feel like he's a really good player. I mean, from the limited amount of highlights that I've seen from him, he looks really good. And he seems like he could develop into a good tackle. But just like how I said about the guy from North Dakota State, I'm kind of scared about FCS players just due to them not playing the competition of the FBS level.
Okay, is that it, Josh?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, with our next team is the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, I'm gonna hand this one off to Josh.
Okay. Let me just get to their draft in a quick second. And I will tell you what I think. Because, oh, yeah. Okay. So first pick, they got Micah Parsons. I like this. Yes, he does have character issues, but he's a really good linebacker. So if he can stay out of trouble and show that he is what he looks like from college, he'll be pretty good. Next, Kelvin Joseph, cornerback, Kentucky. He seems like a good pick at that point. The the Cowboys, they really need some corner help this year. I feel like that was an idea to get because just their corners got burnt this year a lot. So adding Kelvin Joseph seems like a really good idea. Next, we have Osa Ojiza, defensive tackle, UCLA. This seems like a really good draft, especially since the Cowboys are going defensive, which is really where they struggled last year. So it really seems like for almost the entire draft, they went for, they just went for a bunch of players defense in the first couple of picks, except for round 4, round 5, round 4, round 5, and round 7 are the only times where they actually chose somebody besides a defensive player. So I feel like they got down to what they needed to do, which was to draft defensive players. So they did but I really feel like in some places they could have done better than others. So for that reason, I'll give you guys a B- for that draft. So, Zach, what are your thoughts on the Cowboys draft?
All right. With their first pick, Micah Parsons, they traded down for this. They traded up with the person who traded up was Philly, but we'll talk about them next. It's a good pickup, especially at the value at 12 they were picking. So I think that this is a good pick. Because there's not really a good corner on the board until Caleb Farley, and I don't think the Cowboys were trying to gamble on that. And then Greg Newsome, which I don't think that they want Greg Newsome. He's also had injury history, and he's not as good as Caleb Farley, Patrick Surtain, or J.C. Horn. He's just a solid corner, but not as good as those guys. And then with their next pick, I love this pick, Calvin Joseph. You're going to hear this a lot during this whole series of draft grades. I wanted Calvin Joseph. I saw his highlights, and they were really good. He picked off Devontae Smith. He could cover him, number one, which is very hard to do, especially this year, and he did it, and I was very surprised about it. And then I'm not going to try to pronounce that because I will mess that up. Defensive tackle out of UCLA. It's a good pick. D-line's actually getting pretty old, so getting a piece like that is very smart. And then Clarence Goston. Okay. D-end out of Iowa. I like it. Again, isn't his name Demarcus Lawrence is getting pretty old. Getting a defensive end is very smart. And then they went for another corner in the third round, which is very smart because their corners were horrible last year. So they need to work on that. And I think that Dallas had a very good draft. And I'm gonna say it's a B. I like their play. I like the first round and second round. But these third round guys, I really don't know too much about them. So yeah, that's my fault for not knowing them, but I think that they get a B just because I like those two players. So yeah, Jack.
Now Dallas's draft was a little interesting because it's kind of telling the way they feel about specific people on their roster. Let's open up with Micah Parsons. I think this was the right pick if you look at it. I think Surtain should have been the pick, but we knew who that fell. Denver took Surtain before they could have, and Micah Parsons was the best defensive player on the board. He's a linebacker. Kelvin Joseph, I like picking CB. You needed to do that anyway. And then we see who else. Jabril Cox. I think he's going to end up being one of the steals of the draft. I had him as a second round grade. I saw many mocks he was going in the second, and he went all the way to the fourth, a day 4 pick. That's pretty impressive. And overall, you see what's going on here. It's a lot of defense. It's bolstering the defense, but I like it. I don't love it. And I'm curious, what does this mean specifically for either Jalen Smith or Leighton Vander Esch? They drafted 2 linebackers, and I think 2 high-end linebackers at that. I think the upside of Jabril Cox and Micah Parsons is high, and it feels like there's a lot of bodies in that linebacker room. I have a feeling that one of those linebackers is on the move. I don't know if it's Smith or Vander Esch, but there are a lot of them, and I don't think you can keep them all. But overall, I would have liked to see an earlier lineman, I'm going to be honest. The line is getting older. Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, they're unreliable when it comes to injuries, and we saw what happened to Dak's leg. I would have liked to see a lineman earlier than the 4th, to be honest. But overall, the defense was lackluster last year, so you can't hate on them for picking up positions of need, specifically on the defense. But I am curious what the drafting of 2 linebackers means for the future of Vander Esch and Jalen Smith. But overall, good job. You lose points for not taking a lineman early, but you'll stay at a B- for me. What are your thoughts, Josh?
I said my thoughts, but let's just go on to the next team. So our next team will be the Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. So with this one, I will be handing off to Zach for his takes.
Okay. Uh, so we're on Philly, right?
Yeah, we're on Philly.
Okay. Um, with them trading up with Dallas to get Devontae Smith. Yeah, it's a good pick because the reason why is he would have been gone when they were picking at 12 because the Giants would have taken him because the Giants were already looking for a wide receiver and they took Kadarius Toney. So yeah, and then them going with center, the Eagles need a lot. Landon Dickerson is a really good center out of Alabama, and I think that he will do amazing for this team. Not like he's not gonna be like a good like in the beginning. I think it'll take a little bit of time for him to develop, but in a few years, Landon Dickerson will be very good. Um, okay. Kenneth Gamewell in the 5th round. I know I'm skipping a whole round. But I think that's the 5th. Yeah, that's the 5th round. I love this pick. Kenneth Gainwell is a really good running back, and getting him in the 5th or 4th round is really good. And yeah, he's like in my opinion, he's like the best, not the best running back in the class. That's Travis Etienne, but he's like the 5th best running back in this class. So getting the 5th best in that area is very good. So yeah, Jack.
The Eagles draft. Okay. So first off, Devontae Smith, I think this was a good move for Philadelphia. You knew that realistically the Giants were going to take him, and you desperately need a number one option after losing Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, Nelson Aguilar. The only people realistically that are still around, even Zach Ertz is requesting a trade, and Dallas Goedert, and Miles Sanders, I guess if you count a running back. It's not a lot. You needed to make a move here, and someone like Devontae Smith, with the upside of him, Heisman Trophy winner, not to mention the good reputation of Alabama receivers in the latest drafts, I think this made a lot of sense. You jumped your rival, you weakened your rival while getting stronger at a position of need yourself. Good job. Next pick, Landon Dickerson. Now this guy's intriguing. He does have a little bit of injury concerns, but the good news for him is he's not going to have to start day one. He's going to be able to sort of develop behind Jason Kelsey for a bit, and that's good. He's going to be able to take his time to come on the field. He'll be able to get whatever issues he has straightened out. And I think overall, this makes a lot of sense. You needed a lineman for the future. You need to start building for the future. You have one of the oldest O-lines in the league, but they're all talented, but you got to be ready. Let's see, who else we got? Milton Williams, another trenches guy. Rebuilding the trenches. Good job. Ooh, Zachariah McPherson? Okay. Cornerback, I don't mind a CB. Ooh, Kenny Gainwell. I like Kenny Gainwell, especially the value in the 5th. I think he fell because he opted out and then he came to his workout a little overweight, but I think it's not going to matter if you coach him up properly. He'll be fine. I think he's a nice change of pace and complementary back to Miles Sanders. I think that's a nice little tandem you got going there. I think Kenny Gainwell could be a pleasant surprise moving forward. And overall, I don't see any other names of note. Okay, Philadelphia. I'm giving this a super high B, low B+. Because I like it. You did what it needed to do. You addressed some positions of need. You got a couple steals in my eyes. And overall, this is solid. It doesn't have like a bunch of home run players like some of the other A's and A+s do out there. But I think Philadelphia as a whole, they did a good job executing on this draft and getting younger at positions of need that are going to become a problem in years forward.
Did I say a draft grade? I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
If I didn't, I'll just say that the Eagles, they get like I don't know, a freaking B-. I don't like it too much. I only like 2 players, and they're not as good as like the Bills and stuff. So I think B-. This can change a few minutes or a few years. So yeah, Josh.
Okay, so first we got Devontae Smith. Just like Jack said, you were strengthening the need while also hurting your rival Dallas Cowboys. That's always good. So good job on that one. That would have been a solid plus if your draft. Excuse me. If your draft ended right there, but it didn't. Next, Landon Dickerson. Ooh. I'm kind of torn on this pick because he did tear his ACL in the SEC championship game, but he was also doing cartwheels at the Alabama Pro Day, so I mean, maybe that's healed well enough. I'm just hoping that he can get onto the field, but the good news is he doesn't have to start right away. But those injury concerns, get injured once, that's basically going to be a point where people will always be scared that you may re-injure it or make the injury even worse. So that's a little bit scary, but I feel like it's still a good pick. So next, you have Milton Williams. You're trying to replace Fletcher Cox here and trying to either give him some help or replace him because he is starting to get old. So Milton Williams seems like a really good pick here out of Louisiana Tech. And then finally, let's talk about Kenneth Gainwell. He seems like a good pick. He's a top 5 running back in this class, and I like him. He's good. He's really good. So with all that stuff, I will give you guys a B for this draft. I don't like giving too many A's or too many A pluses. So you guys are going to get a B. I like these picks, and especially a lot of them, especially the Devontae Smith one. I like that one. But these seem good, but they could have been. So that's B for me.
Okay. Did you say your take, Josh?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Well, we're gonna be on our next team, which is the New York Giants. I'm gonna hand this one off to Jack.
The New York Giants. Okay, so when it comes to this draft, I gotta consider the following of how I'm going to put in Justin Fields, the value they got for the Justin Fields trade. It's something I've been thinking about, but the idea that they just gained an extra first-round pick next year sounds very intriguing, and I do think I'm going to give it bonus points here, just on the basis of you're adding draft capital because, you know, the Devontae Smith happened and you weren't able to get there. But you went to Kadarius Toney. I'm not the biggest fan of Kadarius Toney. I like his game, but I feel like Bateman is the more complete receiver in this situation, to be honest. I think there was a better guy on the board. But I also would have preferred a lineman here. I don't hate Kadarius Toney, though. I think he does have a future in the Giants, but that's a pretty deep core already. I feel like they should have gone elsewhere for needs, but so Kadarius Toney's going to get a meh for me. I do really like Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia, because the Giants, they have a top 10 defense on paper, but they didn't really have that true edge rusher. I think Ojulari was a first-round talent that kind of fell into the second, and I think he has potential moving forward in the league, especially on the Giants defense, and I think he'll be a big help when he's rushing the passer to that elite D-line of like Leonard Williams and Dalvin Tomlinson, that group. I think he's helpful. Then we go to Aaron Robinson, a solid DB. It just bolsters an already strong secondary. But overall, my issue with this draft is 3 wide receivers, and you sign Kenny Golladay. That's a lot. That's a lot of wide receivers. I felt it was a little unnecessary. There wasn't a single O-lineman, which is just, I don't understand. I'm really concerned about that O-line moving forward. But you did get a lot of value from the Justin Fields trade, so that is something to keep in mind. But overall, it was a confusing draft with some solid picks. Because this is it. Daniel Jones has got to prove himself with all these weapons, but they didn't really address the O-line enough, in my opinion. But overall, I like the top 3, other than Kadarius Toney. I'm sketchy on Kadarius Toney. It's getting a B-, just on the basis of 3 wide receivers at a position of strength, no offensive linemen, but the Justin Fields value and Azeez Ojulari overall saves this draft from being really bad. I think those elevate the draft to not being a C range. I think it's going to stay in the B, but I'm going to give it a low B, B minus. What are your thoughts, Zach?
All right. With them picking at 20, with Chicago trading up, I really like it because they got a lot of draft capital because the Bears were looking for a QB all this offseason. Fields was just there. So, yeah, I'll talk about that in a later video. But I like Kadarius Toney at this pick. Again, it's Daniel Jones. He has to prove himself now because there is no reason to not having a good season unless you're injured because of your offensive line or you can't get a throw off because of that offensive line. There is no reason why you should not have a great season with Kadarius Toney. Darius Slayton or no? What is his name? I forgot. But with Kadarius Toney and Kenny Galladay, like this is a really good receiving core. And then in the second round, Azeez Ojulari, I like it. He's really fast. He didn't have too many sacks though, but I mean he's really quick, which is I think he actually is the fastest. Yeah, I think he's the fastest linebacker in this class, right? Yeah, he's the fastest linebacker in the class or edge. I don't remember what position. But he is really quick and he'll get to the quarterback most likely. But I'm kind of worried about not having too many sacks, but it's fine. I'm all right with it. And then Aaron Robinson. I like it. It helps the secondary out. And then there's no like really other picks that like really I like. So I'm gonna give it a B minus because they didn't work on O-line, which is a big need, but they got next year's draft. So and they'll be picking probably mid-round ish. So yeah. And Josh.
Okay, so with my draft, unlike Zach and Jack, I'll be taking into account how much value they got for trade. Yes, it was a lot, but I will be determining how you went in next year's draft with that. So this will be strictly what they got this year. So, first thing they got, Kadarius Toney. Not good. Nope. You should have drafted somebody else here. There were better people on the board that you could have selected. This pick should have been for a lineman of some sort. Excuse me. This should have been done for some kind of lineman or something. And this just wasn't done correctly here. So that's already not going to help your draft grade when you can't even hit your pick. Next, Azeez Ojulari. I like this pick. He seems like he could have been a top pick or a mid-round to late-round pick of the first round, but he fell all the way here. I like this pick a lot. So that's going to help you, but not that much since you didn't hit off your first round one. But I will take this in. I feel like he will really help your team. Next, Aaron Robinson. I believe that he's one of the best guys in this draft, and I can't wait to see him play in the NFL. So, I like the first three picks because all the others just seem like death pieces for later. So, I will be giving this draft a C. If I took into account all the stuff they got from the field, B minus. I will be crossing that bridge whenever we get to the future drafts. So this is a C for the draft.
All right, with our final team of this video is the Washington football team. And I'm gonna hand this one off to Josh.
Okay. Washington football team. It looks like already from here you have a really good draft. So first, they got Davis. Inside linebacker, Kentucky. This is a really good pick. I like him, and I think that it's going to be a great piece for this new up-and-coming team. Next, we have Samuel Cosme. So whoever's going to be under center for you is really going to be protected. If it's Heineke, if it's Fitzpatrick, who knows? I like Cosme. He seems like he could have been a first-round guy. He fell. So I like Texas Inman, and I feel like he's a great pick. Next, we have Benjamin St. Juste. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Cornerback. Minnesota. I like it. He seems like a good pick, and he seems like he's helping make that defense even more lethal. Because now you just don't have Chase Young and Montez Sweat. You have Benjamin St. Juste. So this seems like a really good player, too. And then we got to talk about the elephant in the room, Diami Brown. This is a good pick to go right next to Terry McLaurin. This is an amazing pick, and he seems like he's going to be an amazing player. I mean, this guy, I thought it was going to be like second, probably third round, but not late third round. So this is a good pickup by the football team. So good job there. There doesn't really seem like much else I can talk about. I could talk about a long snapper, but I feel like talking about drafting a long snapper because, I don't know, they snapped the ball well. Okay. There you go. So I will be handing us off to Zach for his takes.
All right. With their first pick, Jermaine Davis. He shot up draft boards, and he is a good linebacker. Again, sometimes I didn't even say anything. I just said again, he takes himself out of plays sometimes, and that's not too good with a linebacker. So with their next pick, Xavier Collins. Yeah, I had him as a first round guy. He fell because I don't know, but it's a good pick. I really like it. Then they got a corner out of Minnesota in the third round, which is a great thing. And then Diami Brown out of North Carolina. I like Diami Brown, and I think that he'll be a very good receiver with Terry McLaurin. So I think that this draft overall is like, I'm gonna say a B plus. I don't know how Jermaine Davis will do, and Samuel Cosme. So yeah, Jack.
All right, as for the first pick, Jermaine Davis out of Kentucky, I like it. We see Washington has an elite O-line, some solid safety play, and the biggest needs they were, or not O-line, D-line, my bad. They were missing a linebacker, a true linebacker to sort of like run the middle of the field, and I think Jermaine Davis has that potential in a Rivera defense, so I can't knock it. I think he was a first-round talent, so I think this is a reasonable pick. I like it. As for the next pick, Sam Cosme. Another pick I like. The tackle play in Washington has been sketchy at best. We know you have a solid guard in Scherf, but this kind of solidifies it. You begin to build an O-line in Washington on top of some already solid offensive weapons to go along with it. Next, we have Benjamin St. Juste out of Minnesota. I like this pick as well. Corner was another need on the defense, and when it comes to elite defensive coaches like Rivera, they're able to be coached up and they're able to play a nice role in that defense, especially in 4-3s with strong pass rush like they have. So overall, can't knock this one either. I like it. Now, Diami Brown, another solid pick. We see Washington building this receiving core up. They got Scary Terry, Curtis Samuel can do end-around, sweep, slot. He can do all that. And now you have Diami Brown on the other side. I'm a big fan of this pick. I think it solidifies the receiver core. As we see, they got a tight end. I think Logan Thomas should have the starting job there, so I don't think much about this other than competition. A couple depth pieces, any steals? No. So overall, I'm going to give this draft a high-end B+, because my eyes, I feel like they filled positions of need. They solidified spots on the defense. They got a nice receiver. They got a solid tackle. The only thing is, I kind of wish they went after one of these mid-round quarterbacks. Maybe a Kellen Mond, Davis Mills, that type of mid-round quarterback that can come in. So at least you have like another body in there. Because, I mean, Heineke, he's an intriguing player, but he's only played one NFL start, and Fitz is clearly transitional, so I do expect Washington to be out in the QB market at some point this offseason, maybe pick up like a Gardner Minshew on the trade block, because there's not a lot of trusty QB bodies in this room, but overall, you're moving in the right direction, Washington. You're getting stronger on your defense. You're getting stronger on your offense. Good job. B+ for me.
Okay. Well, did everyone say their takes?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
that does it for our video today. If they like the video, what should they do, Josh?
I think I forgot to say my grade for the Washington football team. I'm giving them A- for this draft. I like their draft. I think it was pretty good. If you like the content that we have here, don't forget to hit that like button, punch that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss an upload. And once you do the subscribe button and the notification bell, you are officially part of the Frontline Football fan base. Now, what's the Frontline Football fan base? They are up to date on all news, updates, and highlights across the NFL season and off season. And they always tune into Frontline Football bell turned on. And I'll wait for the plugs to do that, but hey, I hope you guys are having a good week. The schedule reveal is tomorrow when we're filming this on Tuesday. So I hope your team has some great matchups, and I hope that you have an amazing season with an amazing draft and an amazing training camp. So I've been Josh from Frontline Football, and Jack, hit the plugs.
As always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Links will be in the description as usual at this point. Hope you enjoy the draft reviews. They're going to come out a little more consistently now. We had a bit of a dry spree of videos until around yesterday, but progress. Hope you enjoyed the draft season. It's going to get a little quiet, but I don't think we're going to miss a beat here at Frontline Football. We got a lot of content planned. So we'll see you guys back here for whoever we grade next. I'd like to give you a hint. I bet it's going to be the West. Just bet on that now. Don't be surprised if it's the North, but if I had to guess, it's probably going to be the West. So
It's going to be the West.
yeah, it's going to be the West then. So we'll see you guys back here next week.
See ya.